Sir, people like you don't just walk in here asking for $2.5 million. What's your real game? The words hit like a slap across the face. Marcus Washington's jaw tightens as every head in Premier National Bank's marble lobby turns toward him. The loan officer's voice carries with surgical precision, designed to humiliate, calculated to wound. Jessica Martinez leans back in her chair, arms crossed, a smug smile playing at her lips. Her eyes scan his immaculate suit, his polished shoes, his composed posture, and find him wanting anyway. She has no idea that in exactly 17 minutes, the bank's emergency board meeting will begin. The same meeting that will decide her fate. Marcus quietly places a black titanium card on her desk. She doesn't bother to look at it. Have you ever watched someone destroy themselves with their own prejudice while holding the power to stop them? The discrimination isn't subtle, it's surgical. Jessica Martinez speaks just loud enough for the entire lobby to hear every calculated word. Look, I don't know what kind of game you're playing here, but a $2.5 million business loan isn't something we just hand out to, well, you understand. Her pause hangs in the air like poison. The elderly woman at the next window clutches her purse tighter. A young mother pulls her child closer. The businessman in the corner discreetly angles his phone toward the unfolding scene. Marcus remains perfectly still. The black titanium card sits untouched on her desk. She hasn't even glanced at it. I have all the required documentation. My credit score is 847. My business revenue last year was $32 million. Sure it was. Jessica's laugh is sharp, mocking. And I suppose you have references too? I do, including Mr. Harrison. The name hits like a thunderclap. Jessica's smile falters for exactly 2 seconds. Bank President Harrison isn't someone customers just know. But she recovers quickly, her prejudice armor-plating her against impossible truths. Sir, I've been doing this for 8 years. I can spot a fraud from across the room. 14 minutes and 23 seconds until the board meeting begins upstairs. That's when Kevin Roberts appears. The branch manager emerges from his glass office like a shark sensing blood in the water. His cheap suit and cheaper smile announce his arrival before his words do. Is there a problem here, Jessica? This gentleman claims to know President Harrison personally. She emphasizes gentleman like it's a foreign word on her tongue. Kevin's eyes sweep over Marcus with practiced disdain. The expensive watch doesn't register. The custom-tailored suit doesn't matter. The quiet confidence radiating from every inch of Marcus's posture, irrelevant. Sir, perhaps you'd be more comfortable at the community credit union down the street. They're more accommodating to your demographic. The words land like physical blows, but it's the pause before accommodating that draws actual gasps from the witnessing customers. Someone's phone camera zooms in. Another person starts typing furiously. Marcus checks his watch, a limited edition Patek Philippe that costs more than Kevin's annual salary. His phone buzzes. The caller ID reads, Board Secretary PN Holdings. He answers immediately. Patricia, I'm running slightly behind schedule. Please let the board know I'm currently observing frontline operations. The call lasts exactly 15 seconds. When he hangs up, Jessica's face has gone pale. Who is Patricia? She whispers. Marcus slides the black titanium card closer to her. Someone who's been waiting to meet you. For the first time, Jessica actually looks at the card. Her eyes widen. The name embossed in silver letters makes her hands tremble. This can't be real. I appreciate your thorough security protocols, Marcus says, his voice carrying the weight of mountains. But I think there's been a misunderstanding. Kevin snatches the card from Jessica's shaking fingers. The color drains from his face like water from a broken dam. This is fake, he announces, but his voice cracks on the word fake. People like you always try these scams. The lobby has become a theater. Phones are recording from multiple angles. An elderly man shakes his head in disgust, not at the discrimination, but at Marcus for causing a scene. A teenager films everything for TikTok. A young professional woman types frantically, already crafting her LinkedIn post. "I'm calling security," Jessica announces, her hand already reaching for her phone. "I don't believe for 1 second that you have legitimate business here." And the security guard who responds is massive, 6'4", 250 pounds of barely contained authority. His name tag reads Thompson. His expression reads, "Guilty until proven innocent." "Problem here, folks?" Kevin puffs up with borrowed power. "This individual is harassing our staff with fraudulent documents and claiming to know bank executives." Thompson's hand drifts toward his radio. The crowd tenses. Someone whispers, "This is getting real." Marcus pulls out his phone again. Different caller this time. Harrison William, direct line. He doesn't answer it, just holds it up so everyone can see the screen. "Interesting," Marcus says quietly. "Mr. Harrison seems eager to speak with me." The phone stops ringing, immediately starts again, same caller ID. Jessica's voice rises to match her growing panic. That's impossible. President Harrison doesn't just call random people." "You're right," Marcus agrees. "He doesn't." Outside, a black sedan with tinted windows pulls up to the curb. The driver, wearing a suit that costs more than most people's cars, steps out and checks his watch. He doesn't enter the bank. He just waits. 11 minutes and 47 seconds until the board meeting. Kevin's voice cracks with desperation. "Sir, you need to leave immediately or we'll have you arrested for trespassing and fraud." "Trespassing?" Marcus repeats the word like he's tasting wine. "On whose property?" The question hangs in the air like a loaded gun. But before anyone can process its implications, Jessica picks up her desk phone and dials 911. "Yes, I need police at Premier National Bank on 5th Street. We have a suspicious individual with fraudulent documents making threats." The lie reshapes reality for anyone who wasn't paying attention. Marcus hasn't raised his voice once, hasn't made a single threat. But Jessica's words paint him as the danger. Thompson steps closer. His radio crackles. "Units responding to Premier National Bank." The crowd shifts nervously. Some customers quietly slip toward the exit. Others move closer, drawn by the horrible fascination of watching injustice unfold in real time. Marcus's phone buzzes with a text message. He glances at it and smiles, the first smile he's shown since entering the bank. The message is visible to everyone nearby. "Acquisition complete. Congratulations, Mr. Washington. You now own Premier National Bank." 8 minutes and 12 seconds until the board meeting. The police sirens are already wailing in the distance, but Jessica and Kevin are too busy destroying their own careers to notice the text message that just changed everything. The police arrive like wolves to a feeding frenzy. 2 patrol cars screech to a halt outside Premier National Bank. Officers Martinez and Chen step through the glass doors, hands resting on their weapons, eyes scanning for the threat Jessica described. "Where's the individual making threats?" Officer Martinez demands. Kevin points dramatically at Marcus. "Right there. He's been harassing our staff, presenting fraudulent documents and refusing to leave when asked." The crowd presses closer. Phones emerge from purses and pockets like flowers blooming in fast forward. The teenage TikToker whispers into her camera, "Y'all, this is about to get crazy." Marcus stands perfectly still. His phone continues buzzing, call after call from Harrison William, direct line. He lets each one go to voicemail. "Sir, I need to see some identification," Officer Martinez commands. "Of course." Marcus reaches slowly into his jacket. Thompson's hand flies to his weapon again. The crowd gasps. Marcus produces a wallet. Italian leather, understated elegance. He hands over his driver's license with movements so careful they border on theatrical. Officer Martinez studies the ID. His brow furrows. "Marcus Washington. This address is in the hills. That's a $40 million neighborhood. Anyone can fake an address, Jessica interrupts desperately. Officer, this man walked in here demanding millions like he owns the place. 7 minutes and 31 seconds until the board meeting. Officer Chen steps forward, his tone hardening. Sir, what's your actual business here today? I came to meet with my new employees. The word employees detonates like a bomb. Kevin's face contorts with rage. New employees? Officer, this man is clearly having a psychotic break. We've never seen him before in our lives. Sir, step back against the wall, Officer Martinez orders. Hands visible. For the first time, Marcus looks cornered. The police flank him. Thompson blocks the exit. The crowd presses closer, sensing blood in the water. Marcus's phone rings again. This time, Jessica lunges forward and snatches it from his hand. No more fake calls, she screams. I'm tired of these games. She looks at the caller ID and freezes. Harrison, William, direct line flashes on the screen. Her hands begin to shake. That's impossible. Marcus remains calm. Answer it. I'm not falling for your tricks. Answer it. Officer Martinez takes the phone from Jessica's trembling fingers. Hello? This is Officer Martinez, LAPD. Who is this? The voice that emerges from the speaker is unmistakably cultured, commanding, and very concerned. Officer, this is William Harrison, president of Premier National Bank. Is Marcus Washington safe? The lobby falls silent. Even the teenage TikToker stops whispering to her camera. Officer Martinez looks between the phone and Marcus. Sir, are you saying you know this individual? Know him? Officer, I've been trying to reach him for the past 20 minutes. He's expected upstairs for our emergency board meeting. Kevin's world tilts sideways. That's impossible. President Harrison would never... Put me on speaker. Harrison's voice cuts through the phone. Officer Martinez complies. Harrison's voice fills the lobby. To whomever is responsible for harassing Mr. Washington, you are interfering with official bank business. I suggest you rectify the situation immediately. Jessica's legs give out. She stumbles backward, grabbing her desk for support. But Kevin isn't finished. Desperation makes him bold, stupid, reckless. Mr. Harrison, sir, this is Kevin Roberts, branch manager. I don't know who this man really is, but he's been disruptive and threatening. We had to call the police for everyone's safety. The silence from the phone stretches like a held breath. When Harrison speaks again, his voice could freeze lava. Mr. Roberts, in 30 years of banking, I have never been more disappointed in an employee. Mr. Washington is our new owner. The words hit like a meteor strike. 5 minutes and 12 seconds until the board meeting. Jessica makes a sound like a wounded animal. Owner? That's impossible. He can't be the owner. I would have been told. You're being told now, Marcus says quietly. Kevin grabs the phone from Officer Martinez. Sir, with respect, I think someone is playing a prank. There's no way this man owns anything. Look at him. The crowd recoils at the naked prejudice in Kevin's voice. The TikToker's video explodes with comments. Did he just say that? And bruh is cooked. And somebody call HR. Harrison's voice turns arctic. Mr. Roberts, you're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Kevin's face goes purple. You can't fire me over the phone. I have rights. I have procedures. Ms. Martinez, Harrison continues, you're also terminated. Gather your personal belongings. Jessica collapses into her chair, hyperventilating. This isn't real. This can't be real. But the nightmare is just beginning. Outside, black sedans begin arriving. Men and women in expensive suits step out, briefcases in hand, expressions deadly serious. They don't enter the bank. They just form a perimeter. Waiting. A news van pulls up, then another. Reporters with cameras start setting up on the sidewalk. Officer Chen looks around nervously. What's happening out there? Marcus checks his Patek Philippe. 3 minutes and 47 seconds until the truth goes public. What truth? Officer Martinez demands. The truth that as of 9 a.m. this morning, I own this bank. Every brick, every computer, every employee contract. The crowd erupts. Phones buzz with incoming calls and messages. The teenage TikToker's viewer count hits 200,000 and climbing. Jessica stumbles to her feet, her face streaked with tears. This is a mistake. A horrible mistake. I was just doing my job. Your job, Marcus says, his voice carrying the weight of judgment, was to serve customers, not humiliate them. Kevin makes one last desperate play. He grabs Thompson's radio and screams into it. Security to lobby! Code red! We have a hostile takeover situation! Thompson stares at him like he's lost his mind. Sir, you can't just... I'm the manager. I'm giving you orders. Actually, Marcus interrupts, you're not. You haven't been the manager for the last 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 15 seconds until the board meeting. The elevator dings. The doors open to reveal 3 men in $1,000 suits. They step out and scan the chaos with cold, professional eyes. The lead man approaches Marcus. Mr. Washington, the board is assembled. We're ready when you are. Jessica sees her reflection in the elevator's polished doors. Disheveled, panicked, destroyed. The woman who walked into work this morning is gone. In her place stands someone who just learned that prejudice has consequences. Kevin is still shouting into Thompson's radio, still giving orders to employees who no longer work for him, still living in a world that ended 3 minutes ago. Marcus straightens his tie and walks toward the elevator. The crowd parts before him like he's royalty. As the elevator doors begin to close, he turns to face Jessica and Kevin one last time. 23 minutes ago, you asked if I was sure I was in the right place. The doors close with a soft ding. I was. In the lobby below, chaos erupts. Phones ring. Reporters pound on the glass doors. Jessica stares at the elevator numbers climbing toward the 23rd floor. And somewhere above, a board meeting is about to begin that will reshape everything. The boardroom sits 23 floors above the chaos, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a god's-eye view of the city below. 12 board members occupy leather chairs around a mahogany table that costs more than most people's houses. At the head of the table, William Harrison stands like a man facing execution. His hands shake as he shuffles papers he's already read a dozen times. The elevator doors open with a whisper. Marcus Washington steps into the room, and every conversation dies. Every breath holds. Every assumption crumbles. Gentlemen, ladies. His voice carries the authority of tectonic plates shifting. I believe some of you have been waiting to meet me. Board member Patricia Chen rises from her seat, and the first bomb detonates. Mr. Washington, on behalf of Washington Capital Holdings Board of Directors, congratulations on your successful acquisition of Premier National Bank. The words hit like physical violence. Half the board didn't know about the acquisition until this moment. Their faces cycle through confusion, shock, and dawning horror. Acquisition? Board member Thomas Wheeler stammers, his $1 million salary suddenly feeling very fragile. William, what the hell is she talking about? Harrison's voice emerges as a broken whisper. As of 9 a.m. this morning, Washington Capital Holdings purchased 67% controlling interest in Premier National Bank for $847 million. The silence that follows could stop hearts. But Marcus isn't finished destroying their world. Actually, William, there's something else. Yay. He takes Harrison's seat, his seat now, and the former bank president doesn't dare protest. The acquisition was completed at 9 a.m. But the planning began 18 months ago. Board member Sarah Kim's coffee cup hits the table with a crash. 18 months? Marcus activates the room's massive display screen. But instead of security footage from today, different footage appears. Months of it. Dozens of hidden cameras. Hundreds of hours of documentation. For the past year and a half, I've been systematically documenting discrimination at Premier National Bank. Not just observing it, experiencing it. The screen shows Marcus in different disguises, different clothing, approaching different branches. Sometimes he's dressed down, jeans and a t-shirt. Sometimes professionally. Sometimes in work clothes. Every single time, he's rejected, humiliated, dismissed. I applied for business loans 47 times across your branch network. Different identities, different businesses, but always with perfect credit scores and legitimate documentation. The board watches in growing horror as their employees destroy Marcus again and again. The patterns are undeniable. The discrimination is systematic. Rejection rate for Marcus Washington, successful businessman, 100%. But then the second bomb detonates. Marcus clicks to the next slide. The screen splits. On one side, his loan rejections. On the other side, approvals for identical applications. Rejection rate for Michael Worthington, my white business partner using identical financial profiles, 0%. Board member David Ross goes ghostly pale. That's impossible. Michael applied to the same branches, on the same days, sometimes within hours of my rejections. Identical credit scores, identical business plans, identical collateral, different outcomes. The room temperature seems to drop 20 degrees. And here's the beautiful part, Marcus continues, his voice now carrying the weight of judgment itself. Michael Worthington doesn't exist. He's an actor I hired. Every approved loan, we declined them after approval, citing changed circumstances. Jennifer Walsh covers her face with her hands. Oh God, we're finished. You were finished 18 months ago. You just didn't know it yet. Marcus stands and walks to the windows, looking down at the street below. News vans now line the block like armor divisions. Reporters crowd the sidewalk. The teenage TikToker's video has hit 5 million views. But systemic discrimination wasn't enough. I needed something bigger, something that would guarantee national attention. He turns back to face them, and his smile could cut glass. So I bought your bank. The third bomb is nuclear. Patricia, Marcus says, and she slides a folder across the table. Show them the timeline. Patricia Chen, who they thought was just another board member, opens the folder. Documents spill out. Purchase agreements, investigation reports, federal communications. 6 months ago, Mr. Washington approached the Department of Justice with preliminary evidence of systematic lending discrimination. They asked him to gather more comprehensive proof. Harrison's knees buckle. You're working with the feds? I am the investigation, William. Everything that happened today, it's all evidence, federal evidence. Marcus activates his phone. The same phone Jessica tried to confiscate. The same phone Kevin dismissed as worthless. But now the board can see what's really on that phone. A direct line to the DOJ Civil Rights Division. Agent Rodriguez, it's Marcus Washington. Yes, Phase 2 is complete. The evidence package will be in your hands within the hour. The call lasts 15 seconds. When he hangs up, the room feels like a tomb. You see, I didn't just document your crimes. I built a federal case. Today's events? That was me giving you enough rope to hang yourselves on national television. Board member Michael Torres finds his voice. You're going to destroy us. I already have. Marcus returns to his seat, and every board member instinctively leans away from him like he's radioactive. Here's what you don't understand. This was never about revenge. This was about precedent. This bank is going to become the poster child for what happens when financial institutions discriminate. He clicks to the next slide. FBI raid warrants, federal seizure orders, criminal referrals. Your personal assets are frozen as of 20 minutes ago. Your personal communications are being reviewed by federal investigators as we speak. Your careers in banking are over forever. The room erupts in panic. Board members reach for phones that no longer connect. They try to access accounts that no longer exist. But here's the twist you're really going to love, Marcus continues, his voice now carrying the satisfaction of a hunter who's cornered his prey. I'm not just shutting you down, I'm fixing you. Patricia slides another document across the table. The Washington Accord, 53 pages of systemic reforms that will transform this bank into a model of equitable lending. Every loan decision will be monitored by AI software that flags discrimination patterns. Every employee will undergo monthly bias training. Every rejected application will be reviewed by a civilian oversight board. Harrison summons his last shred of courage. And if we refuse? Marcus's laugh could freeze lava. William, you still don't understand. You have no power here. You own nothing. You control nothing. You decide nothing. He activates the building's intercom system. His voice fills every floor, every office, every branch. Attention, Premier National Bank employees. This is Marcus Washington, your new owner. Effective immediately, all discriminatory practices end. Anyone uncomfortable with serving customers of all backgrounds is welcome to submit their resignation. Throughout the building, computer systems reboot. Loan algorithms rewrite themselves. Discrimination monitoring software activates across all 247 branches. The board watches in real time as their bank transforms around them. But more than that, they watch as their industry transforms. Because this isn't just about one bank anymore. The Washington Protocol will be implemented at every major financial institution in America within 60 days. The federal government is using your bank as a blueprint for nationwide reform. Marcus checks his Patek Philippe. 27 minutes ago, your employees asked if I was sure I was in the right place. He stands, straightening his jacket, power radiating from every inch of his frame. I wasn't just in the right place. I was exactly where I needed to be to change everything. Outside, the world watches. Inside, an industry dies and is reborn. And somewhere 23 floors below, Jessica Martinez learns that her discrimination just became federal evidence in the biggest banking scandal in decades. Justice doesn't always wear a robe. Sometimes it wears a $3,000 suit and carries an 18-month plan. The boardroom transforms into a gladiatorial arena as Marcus Washington prepares to deliver the killing blow. Before we discuss your futures, Marcus begins, his voice carrying the weight of mountains. Let me show you exactly what you've built here. The massive screen activates, but instead of documents, it displays a three-dimensional data visualization that makes the board members' blood run cold. This is your discrimination network. Every branch, every employee, every rejected application. Red lines connect branches like a spider web of systematic racism. Numbers float beside each connection. Rejection rates, demographic breakdowns, financial losses. The visualization pulses like a living thing, breathing with the rhythm of institutional prejudice. Branch 47, West Side location. Rejection rate for black applicants, 89%. Rejection rate for white applicants with identical profiles, 23%. Board member Thomas Wheeler grips his chair. Those numbers can't be accurate. They're your numbers, Thomas, from your own servers. Patricia, show them the legal exposure breakdown. Patricia Chen, who Wheeler now realizes has been mining their data for 18 months, clicks to the next screen. Legal statutes fill the display like a digital guillotine. Equal Credit Opportunity Act, Section 1691. Willful discrimination carries individual penalties of up to $500,000 per violation and criminal charges under 18 U.S.C. Section 245. The room goes silent except for the sound of careers ending. Fair Housing Act, Section 3605. Each discriminatory act constitutes a separate violation. Current count across all branches, 2,847 individual violations. Sarah Kim's calculator falls from her trembling fingers. That's over $1 billion in potential fines. That's just civil penalties, Marcus corrects. Patricia, show them the criminal exposure. The screen shifts to federal sentencing guidelines. Prison terms stretch across the display like death sentences. Conspiracy to violate civil rights under color of law, 10 to 20 years per defendant. Mail fraud related to loan documentation, up to 20 years. RICO violations for operating a criminal enterprise, life imprisonment. Jennifer Walsh makes a sound like a wounded animal. RICO? You're treating us like the mafia? Marcus's smile could cut steel, if the racketeering fits. But David Ross isn't finished fighting. He stands, his face purple with rage. This is extortion. You can't walk in here and threaten us with prison unless we comply with your demands. Sit down, David. The words carry such authority that Ross collapses back into his chair like his strings were cut. I'm not threatening you with prison. The federal government is charging you with crimes. I'm offering you a way to avoid dying behind bars. Agent Rodriguez steps forward, placing handcuffs on the table with deliberate precision. The arrest warrants are already signed. Mr. Washington's cooperation agreement is the only thing standing between you and federal custody. Harrison finds his voice, cracked and desperate. What do you want? I want you to choose, prison or transformation. There is no third option. Marcus activates a timer on the screen. You have exactly 30 minutes to decide. At 4:30 p.m., either you sign the Washington Accord or Agent Rodriguez executes the arrest warrants. The countdown begins. 29:59, 29:58, 29:57. But before you decide, Marcus continues, let me show you what transformation looks like. The screen displays a detailed implementation plan that makes the board members' heads spin. Phase 1. Immediate termination of 347 employees across all branches. 0 severance, 0 references. Their discrimination becomes their permanent employment record. Wheeler tries one last, desperate gambit. The unions will never allow mass terminations without cause. Patricia slides a folder across the table. Documented evidence for each termination. Sexual harassment, racial discrimination, loan fraud. The unions will thank us for removing these employees. Phase 2. Implementation of the Washington Protocol across all 247 branches. Every loan decision monitored by federal algorithms. Every customer interaction recorded and analyzed. Ross grabs the documents, scanning desperately for escape clauses. This is impossible to implement in 90 days. Then you'll work nights and weekends. Failure to meet any deadline results in immediate federal takeover of the bank. The timer continues. 25:43, 25:42, 25:41. Phase 3. Establishment of the $127 million restoration fund for previously rejected minority applicants. The money comes from your bonuses, your stock options, your golden parachutes. Michael Torres goes white. $127 million, that's our entire executive compensation fund. Congratulations, you just discovered consequences. Marcus walks to the window, looking down at the crowd that now numbers in the thousands. News helicopters circle like vultures. The teenage TikToker's video has hit 15 million views. But here's the beautiful irony, Marcus says, turning back to face them. This transformation will make the bank more profitable than it's ever been. He clicks to financial projections that make their heads spin. When you stop discriminating, You access the $1.3 trillion minority business market you've been ignoring. Your default rates improve. Your customer satisfaction scores triple. The numbers are undeniable. Equitable lending isn't just morally right, it's financially superior. The banks that adopt the Washington Protocol first will dominate their markets. The banks that resist will be driven out of business by federal sanctions. Agent Rodriguez checks his watch. 20 minutes remaining. Sarah Kim breaks first. What guarantees do we have? How do we know you won't destroy us anyway? Marcus's voice softens, but only slightly. You have my word that full cooperation will result in reduced charges. Criminal prosecution becomes probation. Prison sentences become community service. Personal assets remain unfrozen. And if we refuse? Harrison whispers. Agent Rodriguez answers, federal custody, asset forfeiture, criminal trials that will last 3 years and end with decades in prison. The timer shows 1822, 1821, 1820. Jennifer Walsh starts crying again. We have families, children. This will destroy our lives. Your discrimination already destroyed thousands of lives, Marcus replies. This is you, finally paying the bill. But he offers one final mercy. However, cooperation doesn't just mean avoiding prison. It means redemption. You become the executives who transformed banking, who chose justice over prejudice, who saved an entire industry from itself. Patricia places signature pages in front of each board member. The Washington Accord, full compliance, federal monitoring, complete transformation. Sign now, or Agent Rodriguez executes the warrants. The timer shows 1500, 1459, 1458. Ross makes one final desperate play. We need time to review these documents with legal counsel. Your legal counsel is already under federal investigation for conspiracy, Agent Rodriguez informs him. You have 14 minutes to decide your futures. The room fills with the sound of pages turning, desperate whispers, careers ending. Outside, the world watches. Inside, an industry dies and is reborn. Marcus checks his Patek Philippe. 13 minutes ago, your employee asked if I was sure I belonged here. The timer shows 10 o'clock, 9:59, 9:58. I didn't just belong here. I was destined to be here, to end what you built and begin what should have always existed. Harrison picks up his pen with shaking hands. If we sign this, what happens to us? You become the first executives in history to voluntarily dismantle systematic racism in banking. You become legends, for the right reasons. The timer shows 5 o'clock, 4:59, 4:58. Agent Rodriguez's hand moves toward his radio. Federal units, prepare for arrest procedures. Wait! Harrison screams. We'll sign. All of us will sign. 12 signatures appear on 12 documents in 12 seconds. The timer stops at 3:47. Marcus Washington, owner, transformer, revolutionary, straightens his tie and smiles. Gentlemen, ladies, welcome to the future of banking. Justice doesn't always come with a verdict. Sometimes it comes with a signature and 30 minutes to choose between destruction and redemption. The signatures are still drying when justice becomes visible. Marcus activates the building's intercom system, his voice filling every floor, every office, every corner where discrimination once festered like a cancer. Attention Premier National Bank employees. This is Marcus Washington, your new owner. Security is currently escorting 347 terminated employees from the building. Their discrimination ends today. In the lobby 23 floors below, Jessica Martinez clutches a cardboard box containing 8 years of career memories. Her hands shake as security guards, The same guards who threatened Marcus escort her toward the exit. "This isn't fair," she whispers to no one. "I was just doing my job." The teenage TikToker, still live streaming to 25 million viewers, captures every moment. "Girl said she was just doing her job," she narrates. Discrimination ain't nobody's job description. Kevin Roberts follows 30 seconds later, his cheap suit wrinkled, his face red with humiliation. He tries to argue with the guards, pulling rank that no longer exists. "I'm the branch manager. You can't treat me like this." "You were the branch manager," the guard corrects. "Now you're trespassing." The crowd outside erupts in cheers as the discriminatory employees emerge. Signs wave, "Actions have consequences," and "Racism is unemployed." But Marcus isn't watching the lobby. He's implementing the future. "Phase 1 complete," he announces to the boardroom. "Phase 2. The Washington Protocol goes live across all branches." Patricia activates her laptop, and every computer in the building transforms simultaneously. The old loan processing system, the one that enabled discrimination, disappears forever. "Blind review protocols now active," she announces. "All loan applications processed without names, photos, or demographic identifiers until after preliminary qualification." Agent Rodriguez monitors federal systems as they integrate with bank operations. Justice Department real-time monitoring is live. Every customer interaction recorded and analyzed for bias indicators. On the main screen, the new system's first results appear like digital vindication. Maria Santos, restaurant loan, rejected, 2019. Automatically approved for $340,000. James Mitchell, equipment financing, rejected, 2020. Automatically approved for $180,000. Keisha Williams, beauty salon, rejected, 2021. Automatically approved for $95,000. Marcus's voice carries the satisfaction of mathematical justice. These applications were rejected under the old system despite perfect credit scores and solid business plans. The algorithm doesn't see race, it sees qualification. Board member Sarah Kim stares at the approvals flowing across the screen. The default risk models show these applications are actually safer than our average approvals. Of course they are. Minority business owners have to be twice as qualified to get consideration. You've been turning away your most reliable customers for decades. Through the windows, they watch the crowd celebrate. Food trucks arrive. Street musicians set up. What began as discrimination has become a festival of justice. But the real transformation is technological. The EqualLend app launches in real time, Patricia announces. Every customer interaction monitored by AI that flags discriminatory language instantly. She demonstrates on her tablet. A conversation between a loan officer and customer appears on screen. When the officer uses coded language like, "not the right fit for our institution," the system immediately flags it in red. Instant feedback, immediate correction, zero tolerance. Agent Rodriguez receives an update on his secure phone. Federal Reserve confirms the Washington Protocol is being fast-tracked for nationwide implementation. Every major bank must adopt within 120 days. Marcus nods, but his focus remains local. Show them the individual accountability measures. The screen displays detailed tracking for every employee, not just loan decisions, every interaction, every comment, every gesture that could indicate bias. Employee performance reviews now include bias metrics, Patricia explains. Discriminatory behavior results in immediate termination. No warnings, no second chances. Harrison watches his bank's culture transform in real time. This is more comprehensive than anything we imagined possible. That's because you never imagined consequences, Marcus replies. You built systems that enabled discrimination. I built systems that make it impossible. His phone buzzes with a text from the Department of Justice. Preliminary review complete. Criminal charges against individual employees will proceed. Bank cooperation noted. Marcus smiles and shares the message with the room. Jessica Martinez and Kevin Roberts aren't just unemployed, they're facing federal civil rights charges. The board members go pale. They signed cooperation agreements, but their former employees have no such protection. Individual accountability, Agent Rodriguez confirms. Every discriminatory act documented today becomes evidence in federal court. Outside, local news interviews crowd members. A young black entrepreneur holds up her phone showing a loan approval notification. I applied here 3 times in 2 years, she tells the reporter. 3 rejections. Today, I resubmitted the exact same application. Approved in 40 minutes. The story multiplies across social media. #banking justice trends worldwide. The teenage TikToker's followers hit 5 million. International news crews arrive. But Marcus focuses on systematic change, not viral fame. The Restoration Fund is now active, he announces. $127 million for previously rejected minority applicants. Every rejection from the past 5 years gets reviewed by independent panels. Patricia displays the fund's real-time disbursements. 1,247 applications approved for review, $23.4 million approved for immediate lending. Average approval time reduced from 6 weeks to 4 hours. This isn't charity, Marcus clarifies. This is profitable lending to qualified borrowers you ignored because of prejudice. Agent Rodriguez checks his watch. Attorney General's press conference begins in 20 minutes. This story is already reshaping federal banking policy. Marcus stands and walks to the window one final time. The crowd below represents something larger than celebration. It represents possibility. 41 minutes ago, he says, his voice carrying the weight of transformation itself. Your employees asked if I belonged here. He turns to face the board, 12 executives who chose cooperation over incarceration. I didn't just belong here. I was necessary. This moment was necessary. Justice was necessary. The sun sets over a city where discrimination died in real time, where 347 people learned that prejudice has consequences, where thousands of qualified borrowers finally received the access they always deserved, and where one man with an 18-month plan proved that the most powerful weapon against systematic racism isn't violence or money, it's intelligence, preparation, and the unstoppable force of federal law. The revolution wasn't televised. It was live-streamed, documented, and implemented with mathematical precision. Banking will never be the same. And that's exactly the point. 6 months later, Marcus Washington stands in the same lobby where discrimination died and justice was born. But this isn't the same building. The marble floors still gleam, but they now reflect a transformed world. Where Jessica Martinez once wielded prejudice like a weapon, Maria Santos expands her restaurant empire with her 3rd location. The same desk that witnessed humiliation now processes dreams into reality. The transformation exceeded every projection, Marcus reflects, watching customers of every background conduct business in perfect harmony. We didn't just change a bank, we changed what's possible. The numbers tell an impossible story. Minority business lending nationwide, up 847% in 6 months, bank profits industry-wide, increased 34% after adopting Washington Protocol, federal discrimination complaints, down 78% across all financial institutions, employment in minority-owned businesses, up 2.3 million jobs. But Marcus measures success differently now. James Mitchell called yesterday, he tells Patricia, who still serves as his chief transformation officer. His construction company just won the contract to build 3 new community centers. $12 million, 300 jobs. The ripple effect continues expanding like rings in water. Keisha Williams's beauty salon chain now has 14 locations and employs 127 people. Her daughters attend private school. Her mother retired comfortably. This is what systematic change looks like. Marcus explains during his address to the United Nations Economic Council. When you remove barriers for some, you strengthen opportunities for all. The audience, finance ministers from 47 nations, takes notes like students. The Washington Protocol is being adapted for international banking systems. Discrimination is becoming expensive globally. But the most profound change isn't in boardrooms or regulations. It's in the children who watch their parents' dreams become reality. Maria Santos's 10-year-old daughter no longer asks why mommy cries over rejected loan applications. Instead, she helps count the daily receipts from 3 successful restaurants and plans to study business administration. My generation faced closed doors, Maria tells the documentary crew filming the 1-year anniversary special. My daughter sees open possibilities. That's the real victory. The teenage TikToker, now a social justice influencer with 30 million followers, continues documenting the transformation. Her latest video showcases former Premier National Bank, now renamed Opportunity National, the most profitable community bank in America. One man's preparation became everyone's liberation, she narrates, standing where Kevin Roberts once called the police on a customer for seeking equality. But Marcus's true legacy isn't financial. It's philosophical. I learned something that Tuesday afternoon, he reveals during his final interview as CEO before stepping down to focus on reform initiatives. Anger is temporary. Preparation is permanent. Revenge changes one situation. Reform changes everything. The wisdom resonates far beyond banking. Teachers implement Washington protocols in classrooms. Hospitals adopt bias detection software. Tech companies restructure hiring practices. When people ask what I'm proudest of, Marcus continues, it's not the bank acquisition or the federal reforms. It's the phone call I received from a 12-year-old girl in Detroit. His voice softens with emotion. She said her mother just got approved for a business loan to open a bakery. She said she wants to be an entrepreneur like me when she grows up. She said discrimination can't stop dreams if you're prepared. That child represents the true transformation, a generation growing up in a world where systematic barriers crumble before systematic preparation. The same forces that tried to humiliate Marcus Washington exist in every industry, every community, every system built on exclusion rather than excellence. But you have something previous generations didn't. A blueprint for transformation. Tell me in the comments. What systematic injustice have you witnessed? What barriers need removing in your industry? How will you prepare for your moment? Share this story with someone who needs to know that one person with a plan can change everything. That intelligence defeats prejudice. That preparation transforms humiliation into liberation. Subscribe and join a community of people who refuse to accept "that's just how things are" as an answer. Because somewhere, right now, the next Marcus Washington is preparing. The next systematic transformation is beginning. The next revolution is being planned by someone who understands that justice isn't luck. It's preparation, meeting opportunity with the force of righteousness behind it. Your moment is inevitable. Make sure you're ready to seize it.